$1 million. Free to play. You just need to survive. It's the Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Pick one team to win each week. Get it right, move on. Get it wrong, you're out. The last fan standing take home a guaranteed $1 million cash prize. And for every player who joins, we add $1 to the pot, up to $10 million. The Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Play free on the Fanatics app. App access open to all. Must be 21 plus and joined by 9/8 to play. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. Void where prohibited. Subject to complete terms. See fanatics.com/game rules.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
SpectreVision Radio.
Telemetry and launch condition.
Well, some other observers.
Hey, it's late night.
It's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. With your host, Ryan Singer.
It's more fun to believe.
Welcome to another voyage of Late Night on the Astral Plane. I am your host, Ryan Singer. I am joined by the one, the only, Karen Rontowski.
And I'm all covered up.
All covered up. Explain to ladies and the people listening or watching what kava. I had my first experience with kava just yesterday.
Yes. So I'm a huge fan of kava. It's a root. They turn it into a powder, and it's just very relaxing. And it's not you can't drive on it. It's just very relaxing and makes me feel happy about the awful place I live in.
Okay, so it has medicinal values.
Yes, very much so.
Other than just relaxing, or what?
Other than that, I'm not sure. I think that's its main thing, is that it relaxes you. I don't think it has any vitamins or anything like that. It has no calories.
It's a chill root.
It's a chill root.
It's a chill root.
The Valium of herbs.
Okay, so it's Earth's Valium.
Yes.
Now, I wonder, can you grow it?
That I don't know.
That's what I was going to look up last night.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember when I was like, we were going to look something up. I say this to almost everyone I've spent any amount of time with. We were going to look something up, and because I always forget everything. So we were going to look up, can I grow kava root? Because I had my first cup of it last night, and you gave me a low dose.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You gave me a beginner's dose, and quite frankly, as a guy who's lived my life, I was a little shocked you gave me a beginner's dose. Not that I'm some drug kingpin.
I didn't want you tripping out on the kava in my house.
And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm disassociating. My feet aren't real anymore. Wait, how many fingers do I have? I can't tell. Have you ever been around someone on mushrooms who's like, I just got back in my body?
Yes.
Isn't it weird having a physical body?
It's me.
One time, a friend of mine, we were driving back to the Airbnb mountain cottage after floating on a river all day doing mushrooms, and I had taken a second dose, a much larger dose, while we were still on the water, because I thought we were going to be out there for at least another 3 hours. And me and another guy took more. And then literally 5 minutes later, everybody's like, okay, let's call it. Let's go to a barbecue restaurant in town. It's going to be super busy, though. There's going to be a lot of people there. And I'm just like, no. We get back in the car, and the one guy's driving. He's like, isn't it so weird when you feel like you re-enter your body? Like, what are my fingers? And and he's driving, and he's like looking at his hands. And his hands aren't on the wheel. And I'm just in the back seat, and there's another guy who's coming back into his body as well up front. And I'm in the back, peaking, tripping harder than I have all day.
Wow.
And I'm in the back seat, and I go, Rory, can you please drive the car? I took my mushrooms, and I'm tripping my balls off. And they just start laughing. And then they all went to, maybe 12 of them, went to a restaurant in town, and I stayed at this house. And I took a shower, which I'd never done tripping before.
Wow.
And it was insane how good that shower was. I was like, warm water might be the most underrated resource in the world. Okay,
well, that's what I worry about in the Armageddon is water.
And kava.
And so many things that at the end of the world, I used to worry about tampons, but I don't have to worry about that.
You did freak out about palm juice a little bit.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not trying to, we're not trying to condone like being addicts on this show right now.
Well, kind of, we are.
But you're like,
we
got
right
15 minutes to get to the grocery store because I think I'm out of palm juice because that's what I drink my kava with. And I'm like, well, because we're in the drive-through because of me at Arby's, which by the way stands for roast beef, which I didn't learn until much too late in life.
Does it stand for roast beef? What?
That's why Arby's is called Arby's. Arby's.
Roast beefs?
And it's the way to phonetically say, or it's the way to say the letter RB, Arby's.
Oh, I thought it was a guy's name.
I did too. And then so you're just learning this now.
Yeah, well, I don't eat meat, so it doesn't affect me.
Is it meat? It's like liquid that they turn into sliced roast RB.
But that's the luncheon meats too. The luncheon meats are the worst.
Shout out to Arby's. Fake meat for the fake news.
People get all upset about Beyond Burgers and stuff like that, which is actually pretty natural. But that's
it's
the
mostly
stuff.
soy based, right?
Yeah, or peas. They make it out of pea protein.
Okay.
But the meats that we're calling sandwich meat or salami or bologna, those
don't grow in a field somewhere.
That's not a bologna animal running around. That you turn into meat. That's a lot of things.
The famous bologna animal?
The famous I was attacked
mule?
by a bologna once. The hoofs are awful.
Okay. But in all honesty, we got to be careful about this.
Okay, did I touch?
Yeah, I think we're both doing it. But
okay.
In all honesty, the kava root.
Mm-hmm.
This, in your opinion, and I don't want to be like hitting too close to home here. So I'm going to be careful how I word this.
Okay.
Because for the record, I enjoyed it. I felt very chill. Mm-hmm. My tongue felt like it swole up.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, this is something weird's happening to my body, which I like that sensation.
I do too.
Some people don't. But I enjoy it. Is the kava root just the latest, greatest holistic new age spirituality kind of fad? Or do you think it has holding power? I
don't think anything has holding power. I just don't think in general that happens. Because they'll find something else, and they'll find something else, or they'll find something wrong with this, or big pharma will want a piece of this, and then they can't have it. So I think everything's kind of a fad. I tend to be very loyal to things, and I think it is a great substitute for alcohol. But I also find it to be really, for a while there, ayahuasca and mushrooms were very popular. And now I kind of feel like people are having really bad ayahuasca trips, and people are having, this is kind of a weird segue.
People are having bad ayahuasca trips?
Yes, but here's the thing. I've heard of this 2 or 3 times. So the person making the ayahuasca is programming it. There is a program, there are prayers, they're supposed to be, programmed for certain things. I know someone that did ayahuasca at a retreat, and all of a sudden she was madly in love with one of the guys that worked there and dated him for a while, and then found out he was the one that programmed the ayahuasca and was like, this isn't a match at all. I don't know what happened here. And I've heard of people coming home and their lives kind of being ruined by it, like somebody put bad mojo into it. But I just feel like right now that stuff had its height. Now you have to be very, very careful.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that. I do know that ayahuasca can be, you confront some real darkness inside yourself. And so I'm just like, so people who maybe weren't prepared for that are saying that it was bad.
Yeah, you can have that bad.
It's too much for them to handle, and so therefore they're labeling it bad. That's what I initially thought you were going to be talking about.
No, I think if bad people are making the ayahuasca, or they have different...
I hate to hear this, because it's one of those things, too, where anytime there's an opportunity for growth and for belief in something, people find, that means there's also space to make money and or to benefit personally from it. Doesn't matter if it's crystals. It doesn't matter if it's, I guess, ayahuasca or, these retreats. Anytime there's an opportunity for, true spiritual growth happening or some kind of personal transformation, someone's going to come in and be like, I'm going to monetize this. And monetize could mean any kind of personal gain as opposed to using it for the medicine or whatever it's supposed to be.
But in a way, I kind of think that's what the universe is by design. It's sort of like the white shaman. So a real shaman is in the Andes. They live in the woods. There's all kinds of things where they actually earn that title. Whereas now we kind of have them popping up all over. Now, the lady that I go to that is so helpful, she gets very uncomfortable if you use the phrase shaman, because she's like, no, those are people that, she's like, I don't know what you want to call me, but that's not it. I have too much respect for that word. Like, I never called myself a comic until I was sure I could do it, because we always respected it. Now everybody's like, oh, I do comedy. Really? Where? I don't really get on stage. I'm just a comedian. What does that mean? So I think it's almost by design that nothing is going to be that perfect. It has to be corrupted. Otherwise, it's too easy.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I do, I feel like that there's certain journeys and there's certain transformations that people can go through in this world, in this life. And I don't think it's dependent on skin color or where you were born, etc. But I think, obviously cultural appropriation is a real thing. Because there's a woman I call my shaman, and she's a white woman. And she's had, she's been on the other side of death and back. I mean, she's definitely gone through major personal transformation in her own personal journey through sickness and autoimmune disorders and all kinds of crazy things where, multiple times probably now could be dead.
And also, that name might be the best way for her to explain what she does. But
she is one of these people who also says, I'm not healing you. I am like providing maybe insight or tools for you to be healing yourself.
Space.
Like,
for you.
I'm not like some magic person who's doing this. I'm making space for this to be happening, right? So she doesn't take any credit for this stuff.
Right.
Which I do appreciate. It's one of the things I like about her. But it is interesting that potentially there's no way for anything to ever remain pure forever. Was that my phone?
That was mine, and
okay.
I don't know what alert went off.
Oh yeah, because I was like, mine's filming right now. Is it making noises? And it's also late, but hey, it's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. Is what we say.
It is coming up at a weird hour.
Yeah, I mean, we were up pretty late last night for you anyway, right?
Yeah.
Getting wild and crazy around here.
With the kava.
So, just so people know, we're up in the upper parts of New York. Tonight we had our first run of 3 shows where we're doing paranormal storytelling shows, and we're not doing stand up. We're not doing traditional stand up. And at the Tram Cafe, and it was bonkers how good it was, right?
It was great. And in fact, they were so quiet that there was a time where I was like, did we just put them to sleep or are they completely engaged? And I think they were engaged.
Well, it's a whole different muscle than a stand up show.
Right.
Because you mentioned it before. It's like, how do we measure if we're doing any good if we're not getting laughs? And I was like, well, as long as they're looking at us, I think we're good.
Yeah. And I 3 times I was like, you guys can leave if you want.
I know. Karen kept trying to tell the audience, like, you can leave.
Don't worry.
Please leave.
And then the only person that left was my sister.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was a really, and this is what I want to talk about. At first, anyway, the first bit here is you had a conversation, I believe it was with your sister or maybe even someone else additionally, about, well, I hope it wasn't too scary for you. And I heard her saying that, and I was like, do we really have to say that? And then we talked about it a little bit, and I'm realizing, we're telling stories about demons, shapeshifters, creatures that make us think they're going to kill us in the woods, and possession.
Yeah.
Demonologists being like, no, thank you, I don't want to do with this anything to do with this either. And I forget because we talk about this stuff, because how many years has your Paranormal Karen been on the digital airwaves?
Boy, I don't even know. It has to be like 2009 or 2008. I think I got like 400 episodes.
Okay, so the point is, you and I both have been doing this a lot. We've been telling stories for a long time that are in this neighborhood, I suppose, or even more importantly, hearing stories from other people, I think is the important bit of this. And so we've heard not every story that there is to be told, but we've heard so many paranormal stories. And just because we share, everywhere we go, we're talking about this with friends and other people, strangers at shows and things. And I guess it just kind of, at some point, I forget that this stuff is actually scary to people. Because we were talking about where it's illegal to read tarot. It's blowing my mind when you're telling me that today.
That somebody, that's a very interesting. But it's funny because when you think about, this is what throws me off, and it might be why I feel so out of place out here, which is most people are completely living in the 3D. They're completely in this world. They don't want to even know that there's a possibility of something they can't control or they can't see, which, I don't believe there's anyone in the world that isn't controlling, because you're just, even if it's just controlling over yourself or perfectionism or something, very few people are really flowing. You know what I mean?
Oh, interesting.
Everybody's trying to control something, but the idea,
even if it's the level of how much control they have.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I mean, that was one of my big insights in my DMT trip, was that I need to stop trying to grip so tightly and control like the outcomes of, in the world that we live in, though, we're in that liminal space of life.
Yeah.
Where everything is ambiguous. Our future is never guaranteed in any way, even months away from us. So any type of solid ground we can put in front of our feet, we try to ensure that we're shoveling those rocks in front of us, right? It's just so we have some kind of steady ground to stand on in such an uncertain future. Yeah. And for me, it was like, you just have to let go of all that.
Yeah, because and I don't know who isn't affected by money, maybe rich people, but even like Jeff Bezos has to be number one. He's never going to have enough money. Nobody's getting help. He has to squeeze that even more. And for people, even middle class or something, that's the whole worry about the world, is that the economy is going to explode, that they can't control it. But the idea, which is something that you and I sort of dive into, that there is a invisible force or something there that you can't see, they don't even want to know that. That's not part of their lives. They don't get up in the morning and think about that.
I don't have time for that right now.
Yeah.
I got my mortgage.
Yeah.
And my kids' college fund to worry about.
Yeah.
I can't think about these invisible forces.
And then they wonder why they feel empty, which we don't really have the answer to that. But I said this tonight, I think the paranormal and the scary stuff literally reinforces my faith in God. And that's why I'm always, there's a lot of people that don't believe that there's evil, that it's just all good. And I kind of feel like there's no balance in that.
Yeah, I often wonder about, the concept of duality and balance. To me, they're kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
In many ways. And it's also a man-made concept, or humans have developed the words and the definitions that, balance is important, and you can look in nature, and is it a self-fulfilling prophecy that we believe balance is necessary, so everywhere we look, we see balance? Because is balance even real? But what's funny is you said, like, you can either feel empty, and for all the people that feel empty, there's talk about balance, there's people who feel empty, but guess what? On the other side of the pendulum, there's a bunch of people who are full of shit.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So you have the people who are full of shit, like programming ayahuasca, acting like it's medicine, and then using it for personal good. Then you have the people on the other side who are empty and void of any kind of belief in any of this invisible forces, ayahuasca, ghosts, you have, all this stuff, right?
Well, I mean, and that's actually the big thing Bill Burr talks about. He had a mushroom trip that changed everything for him. And I think once you've been opened up to it once, it can be great, it can be scary, but it's really easy to go to church and hear, well, there's God and you're going to see him after you die and that's fine. But to really understand that God is sort of in everything right now, that's the hard part. That's the hard part for people to conceive. He's not up there judging. It's everything.
Yeah, it is hard. The whole thing too about like some of these big, huge messages that are religious or spiritual in nature, right? Like whether they stem from the perennial philosophy, which is like at the heart of every religion since the beginning of time, and about love, like absolutely unconditionally loving everyone. You don't get to pick and choose, right? And I would try to practice that at times, specifically during election season when I would see Trump signs in people's yards. Instead of being like, fuck off, I'd be trying to be like, you know what, I love you too. And it was almost impossible for me to do that.
Well, I always say I really admire people that say they love everyone because I can't lie like that. I'm not that good of a
You're
liar.
not that skilled?
No.
Well, I wish I had that kind of skill set.
I think the other answer to that, though, is you want to, in a weird way, you want to meet them where they are. So I was just talking to this with the lady that doesn't want to be called a shaman but does great work. And she was saying how if you have a family member who has done no work on themselves, they are maybe at a 4th grade level. So how awful is it for you to expect someone at a 4th grade level to understand a 9th grade level? Do you know what I mean? Like people, when you really look under the surface, and I'm no better at this than you are. I definitely turn it off and I can't stand and I don't want to hear and I don't want to hang out and I don't want to date that person. But they are afraid also. They just have one. Like I want to say Trump supporters or whoever, Biden, whatever, whoever, when your team is not in office, it's very hard to love everyone. If Trump had lost, we would have way more patience for them. You know what I mean?
Well, potentially, as long as they weren't just constantly talking about having an election storm.
Right.
But so it's one way, it's like grass is greener kind of situation to some degree, but or the people are always meaner on the other side of the fence.
Yes, and I feel like right now we're kind of in the ultimate of that. So it's not just, there's a couple of things that happen. When we used to make fun of George, everyone made fun of W. Bush, everyone made fun of Bill Clinton, but when it came to Trump, it wasn't about Trump. We made fun of his people. And that's, I think, where the split really started. It wasn't just making fun of Trump. It was making fun of Trump supporters, which then that was, I think, where we started to split.
Yeah, and I think that there's probably a stepping stone to that with Obama.
Yeah.
Because then making fun of Obama was different.
Or
because of the color of his skin.
Yes, or the birth certificate or whatever it was. Yeah, it started to...
There's still people who are on that.
Yeah.
It's and like you said, like you admire someone who can lie so well. I can admire the stick-to-itiveness of someone who's still being like, but Obama's birth certificate, let's talk about it. It's like, oh, wait, what are we, we're going back. Like this is, it reminds me of the people who take so much national pride. Yeah. Where all their self-worth comes from the country they were randomly shot out of a woman's uterus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or extracted through C-section. Like that's where the bulk of your personal pride comes from. And
that there was no one here before you, that this was white America always.
Yeah, and that tells me something very important about that person. Like you have never done anything in your life.
And they're full of fear.
Yeah, and your family, no one in your family has even done anything in their life to be proud of, because you'd be talking about your uncle who invented this. If you had an uncle who invented something, and you don't even have anybody in your city that did something that you like, oh, well, so-and-so's from my city. He started McDonald's. Or you don't even have that. You don't even have someone in your state that you can talk about, right? It's just like you have to zoom out all the way to the country level just to be proud of something. It's like, it's not that hard to be proud of something.
Well, that's the cult mentality. And I don't even mean you have to be in a cult. Like a cult mentality can sort of be your team. You know what I mean? You love your team so much, and then everybody goes out. It's almost ritual. We wear the same sweatshirt. We all cheer for the same thing. We're all talking about it all the time.
Now you're making me feel weird about being a baseball fan, and because I tell people, I'm like, It's an exercise in vulnerability. I'm putting my happiness in the hands of strange men I don't know.
There you go.
And their actions and behaviors control my happiness. I forgot to look to see who won the Reds game tonight because they're in the playoff hunt, and so it's very exciting times for a beleaguered fan base when we never are in the playoffs. But I'm a part of it, see? I mean, that's how we talk.
Yeah.
When we're sucked
My
into
team.
this. Yeah. And that's how we're sucked into this. We got to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to go deeper. We're going to get, I want to go deeper into the idea of what we touched on about these stories not being scary. Are they, in fact, not scary anymore, or are they? I just felt like there was someone behind us. This happened to me. We're going to talk about what happened. We're going to talk about what happened at the show while you were telling a story as well. And we're going to be right back. Patreon.com/Ryan Singer. $3 a month. That is half the cost. That's less than half of what my Starbucks order is.
Yes.
Which makes me feel like a monster that I'm ordering, depending on what state I'm in or how close to the highway I am. My Starbucks drink can sometimes be $7, which is like, why am I doing it? Why would I do that?
Well, I'm paying $4 for regular coffee.
We're going to be right back for less than Starbucks or regular coffee, ad-free over Patreon, with the one, the only, the GOAT, Rontowski.
¿Hablas español?
Sprichst du Deutsch?
Kann du Norsk?
If you used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world, with lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers. Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Spotify. Spelled BABBEL.com/Spotify. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So we're back. And I want to talk about what happened at the show, just briefly. You're telling a story, and I'm touched on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Something touches me on the shoulder. And I even mentioned, I was like, and I hated to even have to say it that way. I'm like, I know we're at a paranormal storytelling show. I'm up here talking like I know anything about the paranormal. I've got a microphone on stage. Something just touched me during the paranormal storytelling show, during a paranormal story. And it did. To the point where I'm touching my shoulder. I'm like, did something land? I thought like a large, heavy insect landed on me or something. And you then tell me, and people in the audience, I think a couple people saw me like being like, what is it? And I looked back a couple times, so I was freaked out a little bit. But you're saying that happens here all the time?
To me, it happens all the time. And you know that saying, you look into the paranormal and the paranormal looks back. And also, you know, at that show, we weren't trying to sell more tickets. We were fine. So we didn't need to, you know, start a rumor that something touched you. It just happened. So upstate New York, crazy. Revolutionary War, Civil War, Underground Railroad. We are in the mob retirement community. There have been several satanic murders here. So it is like this ground is twice the Native Americans fought against us here. Twice. They buddied up with somebody else to get us out. So the land here is, you could say, cursed or soaked with blood and just crazy negative. And the stories that people tell me about their houses being haunted. You know how somebody always got a story for you? Oh, and then we saw a picture and we're like, that's the guy. He used to own the house. He's still there. No. These are crazy. These are like something that looks like a moose with glowing red eye. Like, I don't know why people stay in some of these houses, the things they've told me. And I have some pictures I'll show you later. It's so dark here. I think I told you, I don't know if it's whatever the Air Force Base is up here. It was actually the first choice for Area 51, and then they ditched it at the last minute for whatever reason. Over in Rome, New York. It's not Nellis. That keeps coming to me. I can't remember the name of the base. But there is so much dark activity that took place here that is still just replaying. I feel like I'm getting touched or poked or stuff is disappearing or moving all the time. And this house that we're in right now is nowhere near as dark as the one that I took you to yesterday. That's just like crazy, like things flying off the walls.
Yeah,
and
we were in there for not even 5 minutes, and I got a sore throat.
Yeah,
which is, first of all, it's never happened to me. This isn't like, oh, this happens when I'm in a place where there's a dark energy named Donovan. Yeah. Donovan's here. Donovan's an evil ghost of, like, I don't know what that rant's about, but can you imagine having like a ghost that always shows up? It's Donovan. Oh, Donovan, are you here? I love Donovan the musician, by the way. I'm coming into I've really, in the last 2 years, I want to be the Donovan of comedy.
Oh, I don't know who Donovan is, so you're already that to me.
You definitely know Donovan songs.
I do?
You know Donovan's music.
I might not.
This is the season of the witch.
Oh, I kind of know it.
That's a Donovan song. Okay. He's got so many hits and bangers, you don't even know it was him. Oh. Anyway, we can talk about Donovan later. But
another thing, cults start in upstate New York. Mormonism was started in upstate New York. The biggest cult, I can't remember the name, started just outside of Albany.
So people get big ideas here.
Big ideas. There was a couple of other ones that's Nimvia. There was one Nimvia or something like that. That started here.
Is that the one with the tattoos where people, like, they call them the Chancellor
the guy's
or
name.
whatever they
put
call
the guy's
them?
name on. Yeah, that started up here. Also, there's a
Buffy the Vampire Slayer actress was in that cult,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Nuvia, or that's a ring.
Yeah, it was the biggest one. Yes. There was another guy I interviewed just talking about the Hudson River. Like I couldn't even follow how he was connecting things with the Hudson River, but it's just really dark here.
How far away is Gettysburg?
Gettysburg is probably 5 or 6 hours.
So 300 miles or whatever it is, 350.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, I've never had a sore throat just come upon me, and then it was gone 10, 15 minutes later. After we left the house, it was gone. Everything was fine. We took a late night walk. Mm-hmm. Really pretty around here. Really super quiet. Mm-hmm. At least last night it was.
Usually very, very quiet.
But you said something interesting, too, about the difference between a place like this in California, or maybe a similarity between a place like this and where I grew up, Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we were talking about?
Yes, it's very heavy elemental spirits here, and I mean earth elemental. So I feel like in California it's very light, airy spirits. It's not heavy. But out here it's literally touching and things that are earth element. So they're almost, I don't want to say solid, but being touched. I had somebody pull on my yoga mat. I thought somebody was behind me. I had my Walkmans on. I spun around. Nothing was there. Up in that other, I feel like with heavy earth elementals, things tend to move around more, but it's just a different energy. And I think I'm more of I guess I would say an air, like kind of airy air sign, and that feels more California. But this East Coast is just heavy.
So to characterize the difference between, like, maybe, to get a little deeper into this, because I think it's interesting. Like the airy spirits, and in comparison to the elemental, heavier spirits, we're not talking about good versus bad here necessarily.
No, not at all. In fact, I think that's why people, like, I don't belong here. That was very clear when I got here. I was like, I wake up here. I don't feel good here. I feel sad here. I have to fight to get out of bed. When I start driving to the airport about an hour out, I'm like, oh, this is me again. This is me. People that have lived somewhere they shouldn't have, or it just wasn't their land, know that. It's like when you land somewhere, you and I had talked about that. Like when you got back to Los Angeles, you were like, oh, yeah, this is my thing. Other people feel like that in North Carolina, whatever kind of you connect with. But out here, it just feels so dark. And then you have those winters where people get obsessively depressed because we had gray, I think, last year from October we had no summer. In June, we were still like 50 degrees and cloudy. And then it went right up to 90. It was like that in LA this summer. June. And then it went right up to 90. Like there was no in between. Like it was crazy. But it's haunted with, whatever you want to say.
Is that why you think there's a difference with, like, when you're talking about, like, when people tell you these stories about their houses that are haunted, you're talking about like a moose with glowing eyes as opposed to like a more airy spirit, like
Yeah.
floating around.
Yeah, it's I mean, and certain people I know people that love living here, they can't stand LA for a minute. It's not grounding to them. They feel like they're floating. They feel like they don't get what everybody else is happy about. But also, I really do, and we talked about this, Los Angeles, no matter what you say bad about it, it is a place where people go there with hope. Out here, I'm not saying people don't have hope out here, but you have a different lifestyle. You're not hoping to be famous. You want a job and you want to have kids, which is wonderful. But out there, I just listened to somebody that was saying New York City was a psyops because people go there hoping for something. They never get it. They're caught in the wheel and they feel like if they leave New York, they failed. They quit. So it's a psyop to keep them in the machine, working and hoping for something that'll never come.
Well, I feel like capitalism is the psyop, not New York.
I feel like that too, but and Los Angeles would fit that too. You're always hoping for it to be in a movie or something like that. But I think, and out here may even be more grounded. I want to have a kid. I want to have a husband. I want to have a job. I want to retire in Florida. All that stuff, but it's a different energy.
It is a different energy, and I don't know. I don't know what it says about me. I love Los Angeles. I feel better there than I do in Ohio, where I grew up.
do too.
But the number one place I feel good is when I'm on the road driving.
Yeah.
Like I'm
free.
I don't know what that means, but every time I hit the road for a road trip, I am like, this is where I'm meant to be. And it's just like nowhere, but everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense to me. Because it's like, I think I could potentially live mobile, but I floated for a good period of time, not that long ago. And after a while, I'm like, I need to get anchored down. The crab needs a water spot. And so I do thrive doing it, but I do know that I have a limitation. But like every time I hit the road, if I haven't been traveling for like even a month, I'm just like,
yep.
I feel like I can exhale. Now, there's, what is it, astrocartography? Mm-hmm. There's, 3 places, right, supposedly, that you are meant to live?
One of mine was Saudi Arabia.
Interesting.
I know. And one was Colorado. It didn't quite make it to L.A., and I like Colorado, but I
have to figure mine out again. I just remember them being like, wait, what? Mm-hmm. Topeka? Munich or somewhere else I don't want to live?
You know what's funny? I have a strange in my head. I always go, why don't you go to Kentucky? Kentucky? What? Why don't you go to Louisville? I don't want to live. I used to work in Louisville.
Louisville's pretty cool.
It is kind of cool, and those red states have almost stronger like gay communities and like they almost bond together a little better.
Well, the red states all have blue city centers.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to make this red versus blue, but every city center is blue because diverse groups of people have to live on top of each other and are sharing public services. And that's just the way it is. You just don't find red city centers. And I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because people are more open to sharing. People always want to talk shit about California, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I gladly pay more personal income tax to have access to services. And so other people also have access to public services because I'm a socialist. And I believe that the government should be providing education, healthcare, and other things. So this is just, I would pay double if it meant everybody had free healthcare. I'd pay double.
I wonder if California is going to break away. I think if we stay on this course that we're on right now, I actually have a feeling California is going to break away. A couple years ago, I predicted that I knew Trump was going to win, but I was like, everybody keep an eye on Gavin Newsom. And they were like, no. And he's like fighting back like he took another lane.
Seems to be the really only one doing it.
Yeah, and I know that that's a calculated move. I don't think he's the next answer, but I think we have a problem when we think the next guy is the answer or this one is going to do the change that we do. I think they're all going to be politicians. At least he's trying something new. And not to get political, because back to what you were saying, I can't explain to people how I feel in California. There is an aspect on my astrological chart that I looked up. I don't even know what it was. And the first line was freedom at any cost. And that is me, like, I don't want to have debt. I buy my cars. I don't want to owe anybody for a car. I get nervous when the rent isn't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to owe any, that's freedom to me. So
everything you own can fit in your car.
Can fit in your car. Oh, that's the dream. Because even when I feel the same way. When I moved from Los Angeles to New York, the drive was like, it was magic. And I was having so much fun, and I was just, where's the next hotel I booked? And it was just, I didn't owe anybody any money. Nothing was going to happen, you know?
I do love that feeling.
Yeah.
Of like, because I've had, in the last handful of years, I've had to do like storage unit for stuff, which means I got too much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I'm like, my rent's $185 a month for a storage unit, like, yeah. I can do anything. It's like such a freedom of a financial freedom.
And other people, I have other friends that have to own a house because that to them, then they feel free. They feel like I got something. If I need to sell it,
they need to have a base. They need to be anchored on a base.
They need to be anchored at a base
to truly have their wings spread.
I'm a balloon. I need someone to pull the string down.
It's interesting that like. Your astrological, we were talking about astrologists and how we're both fascinated by how much work and how much study goes into actually being a good astrologer.
Really knowing it, yeah.
And it really is something, because you characterize it, if I'm not mistaken, as tarot. Tarot and psychics can give you like in the moment and like, you know, give you some really critical and crucial information, you know, and about things you've been and who you've been with or whatever else. But astrologers, would you say, like they
can give you time and date.
They give you a time and date.
You know, and I've noticed this, and I think this is very interesting, but lately everything is kind of like a week off. And I think that's not the astrologers. I think time is changing.
Because we're in the black hole that they just discovered?
There's something like that.
You saw that, right?
That we're in a black hole? I think so.
That news article where the James Webb telescope sent back images just like within the last 3 or 4 weeks. This story just came out where it's pointing to possible evidence that our galaxy we are inside of a black hole.
Well, it feels like it now.
Right. And so, and then I think there was 3 days this year, an unrelated story on another scientific article, where there are 3 days this year where actually time has sped up, and it's actually measurable on 3 different days this year.
Those are going to be the 3 days I have off.
Right. and obviously it's on a subatomic clock, and it's like, would we ever even be able to perceive it? I'd say yes, on some kind of level, potentially, right? Because we're connected to it all. But, and it is, I don't know, I've always wondered, speculated about, you know, they say the Big Bang and then the universe expands until it can't expand anymore, and then it starts to contract. It's like, well, if it's contracting, that changes everything, and it reverses everything that we were feeling previously, potentially, even though we weren't in our current states back when it was doing initially. But if we reach that point now where we just happen to be lucky enough or unlucky enough, depending on how you view it, to be born in a time when the universe stops expanding and then begins its contractions, we're going to feel the crunch, and it might get a little uncomfortable.
I think that's it. You know, it's real interesting because I was just going to tell you something that I saw, but I think we are in such a state of what is reality because there's so much misinformation out there and AI, but I'll tell you anyways. There was a guy was talking about they made contact lenses where you could see at night, but they like a night vision contact lens, but
that's crazy.
They can't use them because every time someone puts them in, they're seeing things that are not there. Like the trouble they had with like night vision goggles where people were seeing aliens and stuff. So they can't release the contact lenses because people were seeing things and beings that they didn't recognize.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people we know have these night vision goggles. They're incredible. I can't, if I had disposable income beyond my wildest dreams, I would own every iteration of goggle or camera, like thermal, night vision. I would own all the gadgets and all the toys. And you can see so much action through these night vision goggles that you can't see with even a good camera that's not in night vision mode.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really kind of hard to wrap your brain around.
Yeah.
I think we do need to take one more break, and I got to make sure this camera is still running. But we do. We're going to come back after our final break here with Karen Rontowski on Late Night on the Astral Plane, patreon.com/Ryan Singer, $3 a month. You get ad-free voyages. So
I'm doing ASMR. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Hit him with that AMSR. Is it ASMR or AMSR?
I don't know, because I block it whenever it's on my... What people are doing this? I can't stand it.
Hit that subscribe button. You do this like... This is you swiping to the subscribe button. Okay, that's I creeped myself out. We're going to be right back.
Claptrap here. 2 big things are coming this fall. Borderlands 4 and Spotify Wrapped. So stop listening to that one playlist that reminds you of your ex who only made you cry. Talking about you, Veronica. And pre-order Borderlands 4, coming out September 12th.
Rated mature.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength, Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
I got Karen Rontowski, Late Night on the Astral Plane. We are taking a fantastic voyage. We've got 2 more shows of true paranormal tales. And what potentially, I think, if we were to be honest, this is a dry run for us of doing
storytelling, paranormal storytelling.
Pretty much straight up storytelling shows without doing stand-up components.
Right. But we're always funny, so it's going to be funny.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think we had some good laughs tonight.
Yeah.
Me and you did later after the audience was gone. We had some good laughs about how there was no laugh.
We didn't want them in on the fun.
No, we had some laughs. People, this is what we have to remember too: is people aren't coming to this show to laugh.
No, and I kind of made that clear, and we were like, no kids, and you know what? Like I said before, I think. I couldn't tell at first. I was like, are they afraid to leave? They don't want to leave because they think we'll be mad. But I think they were kind of like, what is next? Because people don't our stories are out there. Like most paranormal
Let's
stories
get back
are
to
out
that.
there.
That we started this voyage talking about that and kept getting distracted as we do. I mean...
You can't hold me back. There's always a lot going on.
I was actually getting ready to mention this because this is probably this will be the most successive days, like full time we've hung out, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think we've ever been sequestered anywhere together.
Except Nashville, but it was only like a day.
Yeah.
Oh, and when
so
we
this will be 4 full days.
We were at that house. We stayed at that house and we did
we did the Halloween thing.
Cambry House,
So that was like 2 days.
Was it only 2?
Mm-hmm. Because we did investigation and then we did a show.
Right.
Or show then an investigation. Anyway, but I mean, it is. I got to put a GPS locator on you because Karen is constantly doing no fewer than 7 things at the same time, and I think the kava is the only thing that can get you to like downshift.
Yes.
To like 2 things at a time.
Yes. I don't know what it is, and I literally have to fix that because not only I think I'm getting older now, and I can't do 7 things at once. Like I forget what I'm doing, but and in my mind I'm packing to move, but nothing is moving,
which
so
isn't until a few months from now.
Right.
But no, I get it. Once I make a decision about something, I can't sit on it anymore. It's impossible. Like if I decide to move, which is always a dangerous decision for me, because, and I don't mean it's dangerous because it's dangerous for me to move. It's dangerous because the moment I decide in my mind that I'm moving,
Until that move is done, you're uncomfortable.
Well, that, and also, okay, I already paid the next 2 months of rent. That doesn't matter. I'm still leaving right now. Goodbye. As soon as I have my car packed. Like, I remember one time I left LA, and one of the many times I moved back and forth, I decided, I was like, I'm going to move back to Ohio and go back to college. And then my roommates were like, wait, what? I go, I just decided I'm moving back to Ohio. And they're like, you are? And I'm like, yeah. I had my car packed later that night.
Wow.
And I was gone the next day.
Wow.
Less than 24 hours.
That's that spontaneous
Yeah, I was in my early 20s, so I was a little more...
Oh, okay, that's a little more.
I was a little more spontaneously active.
And did it work? Did you go to college?
Yes.
What did you go to college for?
I got a creative writing degree.
Oh,
I'd already dropped out of college before that, after about 4 years.
See, I call that spontaneous psychism. Like, I think there are some psychic things that are so spontaneous and so spot on. My greatest example of this is, do you remember the Malaysian airline plane that went down?
Yeah.
The guy said, Malaysian airline plane has crashed. And in my head, I was like, they're never going to find that plane. And I didn't even know the story, but I just heard they're never going to find that plane. And I feel like that's also when you get like, I got to move. That is your... Sometimes it's, being quick or, avoidant or even irresponsible. But usually, especially if you had your car packed like that, that's a psychic moment.
I like the usually part.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely, when I was younger, and I mean, I think if most of us were to be honest, we've all participated in avoidant behavior. Or,
but that's
irresponsible
different.
Behavior. These are different.
Those ideas usually dissipate or move slower. But when you get that, like, I'm going, and you go, that I think that
happens to me. That's happened to me a lot. I did at one point recognize a pattern. Once it was identified in my mind, I was able to put an end to it. It was a birth cycle pattern.
Somebody else is having birth?
No, I was about 7 months in the womb. I was premature.
Oh, okay.
7 months for me, anywhere or doing anything, I always got out.
Oh, interesting.
At 7 months, I was, that you hear about the 7-year itch?
Mm-hmm.
I had a 7-month itch. And it didn't matter if I was working at a job, living in an apartment, in a relationship. 7 months, I had to bust out.
Okay, now do you think that's energetic, or did your mother mention that over and over? You were born 7 months. You were born 7 months.
No, I don't think it was hammered home to me. Because
right.
if we asked my mother, she'd probably be like, you were more like 8. Like, I don't even remember exactly, right? But I think it's like seven and change at least, mm-hmm. right? But it wasn't a theme of my life that was hammered into me, for sure. And one day I just realized it. Because I think a friend of mine said, like, do you ever finish a lease? Or like something like that. I don't know how. Some conversation
how
made me like.
How do you get out of a lease at 7 months?
You just leave it.
Really? But you don't
I would
back
still
pay
maybe.
it?
I would probably pay it. I'd probably have to pay it.
Yeah.
Or something. But,
or else you get somebody to move in. See,
yeah.
now that's how I get. I'm more worried about the lease, and that is keeping you from freedom. That lease.
But once you go past that 12 months, you go month to month.
Then you're free.
Yeah, but then you're susceptible to price increase.
Yeah. Well. Weird.
Thanks for joining us on Renters Anonymous, where we anonymously talk about
the terms and conditions of your lease.
Yes, and that will be $50 for an application fee to listen to this episode. I had a. Do you ever just have the stupidest thoughts? Like, I'm driving here yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Yep.
And I'm thinking to myself about apartments for some reason. And I don't plan on moving or changing apartments or anything like that. And I'm thinking, you know what? I hope I'm going to get online and I'm going to look for places that have a $50 application fee, because some of them do that.
Yes, in LA a lot do.
And I'm just going to email every single one of these assholes and tell them I'm reporting them. To who? I don't know. The Better Business. And I'm just gonna MF these people. I'm gonna let them know.
Yeah.
Because somebody needs to let them know. And I'm like, why am I spending so much time?
You know what? I get that about certain things. I get that about.
It just came into my brain out of nowhere, though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The corruption. This is where I think we all have to let go of our control things. The corruption of big business, and you don't get anyone on the phone. And if you get someone on the phone, you're yelling at someone that has nothing to do with the decision that was made to charge $50. It's just someone answering the phone. I think that especially for you and I, it's overwhelming how much we can't just be free. For example, by the time when I moved from New York to California, I can't tell you the nightmare of moving your registration and then your insurance. And I wanted to keep my California license plate. And they were like, but you got to, oh, that's fine. You can keep your license plate and have New York insurance. And then California called me and they were like, no, you can't have a California license plate and New York insurance. It was like a nightmare. So literally even the calculation of I have to have California insurance to drive cross country, because if I have an accident, then New York is like, well, wait, you're not living in New York. You know what I mean?
Well, I've done this so many times, and I will tell you that I have had. No, I'm not here on this program saying that I've ever committed insurance fraud.
No.
But
you have to figure it out.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
You just keep your New York insurance until you have an address and until you moved in, and you're going to be fine.
Well, I will have an address, but it's the bureaucracy of like people don't realize that living as a nomad.
I've done it online before, and it's pretty easy switch over usually if you stay with the same insurance company.
I got New York insurance, and back there I had California insurance. But I have an address there where I'm going, so this is all a lot easier.
Okay.
If you're going there to find an apartment,
well, then you're kind of
hung out.
You just can't let anybody know and just act like you're on vacation.
Right. But if you're, if halfway there I get in a car accident and who's your insurance, and then they go, hey, but you're not paying rent, you don't live here. We're not paying off your and it would probably be hard to find out, but still, it's a weird.
You're in limbo.
It's in other words, the system is like it wraps around and just keeps wrapping.
It's a snake pooping its own head.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. I guess it is. It is
and for
difficult
people
to
that are
to
kind
find
of
that freedom
obsessed
there.
with freedom, it's there. Is there really ever total freedom?
Well, I think I don't want to get that dark.
Yeah, well, and
I was going to say, because there's some great jokes about Marin, I think, on a couple albums ago, or a handful of years back. He would talk about like depression, and he'd be like, and you start getting really dark, and you're like, I could always kill myself.
Yes.
Okay, I feel better. Like knowing that you have the freedom to do that. It's like, oh yeah, charge me with a crime after I'm dead. Go ahead. Like the fact that attempting suicide is against the law is one of the craziest things to me.
But you know what else? That thought in itself, should I kill myself, can sometimes make me feel free. Like, in other words, so if we're like, I think people that really kill themselves are in such a different space that we don't even know.
We're not trying to make light of it.
Right, because that's a different...
It's definitely, it's a hopeless situation.
Mm-hmm, like beyond hopeless.
Yeah, and you're not considering, the impact it has on the people that are in your life, right?
Right.
None of that is even of consideration.
Right. And we are talking about like just a depression, we all got there. I don't think anyone would say, I've never thought that. But it frees you in a way to go, well, wait a minute. If I'm going to kill myself in a month, I'm going to do everything I want now. I'm going to eat what I want. Which literally makes you then not want to kill yourself. Because you're like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I'm enjoying something.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, too. If you're given a terminal health diagnosis, it frees you to go do, I think there's the idea, too, of like actually having control over something.
Yes.
The ultimate, and not just something, the ultimate thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, I think that's what scares people about paranormal. Is they feel like they don't have any way of controlling it.
Right.
And to kind of tie this back into, because we got distracted again, I'm not considering these stories to be scary, even though I was terrified when they happened.
Right.
Now, what is that about living in this life that has, I don't want to say softened us to the actual fright factor of these stories, because I wouldn't even have considered for half a second to do a disclosure or a disclaimer at the beginning of our show, or even throughout it, that like, and I'm sorry if some of the stuff's too scary for you. Like,
it
never would have occurred to me to do that.
And I was kind of like, we're going to start soft. And I will tell you there's another reason for that too. And this is something that I had to learn kind of here in upstate New York. So again, not better or worse, but there is a different mindset. So we are in a show business mind, which we are really, that is our life, whatever you want to call it. We're in show business. Show business life is never, there's no finish line. There's almost like, what am I going to do next? If I create that, what am I going to do next? And it's very counter. I think it's why people can't understand people in Hollywood, because they want to know the paycheck will be there on Friday, the mortgage will be paid. Yeah, I need to know, like, I talk to people that suddenly become self-employed and it freaks them out. And I'm like, yeah, I remember when I was there. I remember
the uncertainty.
The uncertainty that now it's all on you. But I feel like it's almost not trusting yourself. Okay? So like the story that I told in there about being in a bad situation where all I could hear in my head was my tarot teacher say, these things want your mind. And I made that decision. They're not going to get my mind. So I looped a thought over and over. My name is Karen Rontowski and I know who I am. I looped that over and over and over. And that sort of kept everything at bay. I think when we don't trust ourselves, when we think something could take over our mind, when we think something could scare us so bad that we're not ourselves, or we're not brave, or we're not that person we thought we were, that just is unraveling. And I think you and I have been in enough situations. We all know the paranormal investigator or somebody that did get scared so bad they're out. You know, there's a woman that was famous for all the tarot cards. I can't remember. Doreen
Virtue.
Doreen Virtue. And now she's all Jesus.
She got scared out?
She doesn't say that, but I think she had to have been scared out.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it was just some weird... I never considered that. I always thought it was just some, like, born-again Christian BS kind of... I don't want to say BS. I don't want to be dismissive, but it's like, don't be giving me this Christian shit.
There's something, yeah.
I don't have time for that shit.
It was very strange because I did know a guy who was all into tarot, and then one day he had a huge Instagram, and he was like, "This is the devil's work, bye." And everybody was like, "What?"
Something happened. There was some kind of miraculous, spontaneous paranormal experience that he interpreted as religious.
And then he came back. And it was like, what do you...
Because there's also something called spontaneous mystical experiences, too. There's a friend of mine sent me this great article about it. But, they're identical. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, Saul getting knocked off his horse, changing his name to Paul, becoming the rock of the foundation of the Christian church. But that's interesting. But you don't often hear about them going back, though, after that.
Right. It was very weird.
This guy went... He did a 180 and then he did another 180 to make a 360.
And he actually went to, before the tarot stuff, he was in seminary. He was going to become a priest. Like, he went through the whole thing. It was very, very strange. And then he came back like that. But
did he act like nothing happened, or did he
act like he just...
He didn't offer any explanation?
Nope. I'm back. And everybody was like, yeah, you just judged us and now you're back. So I don't know what that is. I think even if it's like something scared me. Something showed up in my apartment and was like, I'm here because you read tarot cards, right? Now I'm going with Jesus because that's the blanket. That seems like the security blanket. But I think even if it's not something that like terrifies you in the moment, there is a fear. That fear could, I will tell you every once in a while, because I really think that the religion that makes the most sense to me is Gnosticism.
Okay.
So, and for anyone that doesn't know, Gnosticism is everything Jesus said is right, and everything in the Bible was actually written by Satan or darker forces. In other words, why would God get mad if you ate an apple from the tree of knowledge? Why wouldn't God want you to have knowledge? But yet Adam and Eve were thrown out of the garden for eating the apple of knowledge. Like, that's a good question, right? Or why would Revelations tell you the end of the world, like tell you have no choice, you're going to all die in the revelation. Like it doesn't, when a really good Gnosticist unravels it, it makes perfect sense. But everything Jesus said, I am 100% on board with. You can't find a Jesus quote that is like, don't be gay, or don't, you know what I mean? They were all like, empower yourself.
Yeah, and then like writers like C.S. Lewis, they bastardized everything. And I mean, I don't know, C.S. Lewis doesn't get enough shit as he should.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's dead. So, okay, fine.
So have at it.
But C.S. Lewis can hit the bricks as far as I'm concerned. He wrote this book called Pure Christianity, which I don't know if anyone's had the displeasure of reading it. And if you're Christian reading this and it's bothering you, I apologize. But C.S. Lewis can hit the bricks. Because he said in this book, the Bible tells us that if a man and a woman who are married have a disagreement and they just can't get to the bottom of it, and that the woman always should cede to the man's opinion on this. And I was like, I don't need to read any more of this. I wish he would have said this in chapter 1 so I didn't have to read this whole damn thing. But like, to me, that's like, okay, I see exactly who this book is for.
Well, and also when I
But that's
see,
like some Satan shit.
I think that is, and that's the Christian stuff. And but I also feel like every once in a while I'll watch and I'll be like, are these people right? Or like, I'll give it a second thought. Like I'll go, you know what, are all these people going to end up in heaven? And I'm going to be like, whoa, I screwed up with the cards. And then I think, no, I really don't believe that. But that's how hard the programming is, that I would even ask myself, do they have it right?
Yeah, and it's wild to think that they have it right, considering that they're like, you know, pop
oppressing women.
Yeah, and they're pop music compared to like, I mean, they're derived.
Yeah.
It's a religion that's derived from other previous older religions, and incorporating other people's religious beliefs or figures into the bad guys to make. So to me, it's just like this is what we're going to base our whole country on here in this country. Like these guys trying to bring in this Book of Revelations bullshit, which, you know, and then it ties into the Zionists and also the country, which is even a crazier rabbit hole to go into. But at the end of the day, it's like everybody's just so damn afraid of something.
Yeah.
Right. And it's probably death and the unknowable truth of being on the other side of physical form. And that's what I love about paranormal research and paranormal investigations is we are showing it, even if it's not provable in a scientific materialistic viewpoint to people, who cares?
Yeah.
That in fact, physical form is not the end all be all of being alive. And you can talk about heaven, or people can talk about all this afterlife stuff all they want, or the in-between spaces, whether you want to get into the Michael Newton books, Life Between Lives, and I'm into the reincarnation vibe. So it's not like I'm over here hating all religion.
No. But bits and pieces. But it's also, I don't know that it's religion. It's and I even find this on TikTok, and it drives me crazy because I love listening to everybody's opinion, especially about paranormal on TikTok. I get nervous when people are sure, when they're that confident. We don't know. You don't know how many times the Bible has been changed. Don't tell me you're sure. I went to a church, my Methodist church that I was brought up with. They were like, do your best. You know, we're not on.
See, that's a chill vibe.
Chill vibe, yeah.
That's a chill vibe. You know, it is fascinating though that, in my mind, now this is delusions of grandeur potentially, and not me specifically, but collectively the paranormal research field and the paranormal investigators, the parapsychologists, all these people who behind closed doors in certain circles are already well beyond needing validation because they're actually being secretly funded or whatever else, right, by billionaires. And we know this for a fact because we can look at Robert Bigelow, who's a billionaire, has his own aerospace company, and he is funding scientific research programs, and he's giving grants to scientists under the banner of consciousness study, right, where they're focusing on finding the world's best psychics, right? And so this is stuff that we can figure out just by looking at it for a minute, right? And then what happens is you realize, like, oh, the paranormal research field and the investigation field, all these weirdos walking around in black T-shirts and wallet chains.
And cowboy hats. Every member, we always have to have one
There's
member
always
of a
one,
paranormal group in a cowboy hat,
Yeah.
always.
Like, these are going to be the groups that are actually leading the charge into the true understanding of the nature of reality.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who are open to the quantum field or the parallel universes or portals being real or Bigfoot being interdimensional.
And a lot of them are atheists.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And it's okay, because that gives them, I think it gives them a playing ground. They're not looking for Jesus. They're not looking for,
And listen, we're all looking for who is my Jesus?
Yeah.
What is my Jesus?
Yeah.
Shapeshifters, right? Like, I'm looking for shapeshifters. And is it plasma? Right? Is it like the scientific paper about shapeshifting plasma and like all these stuff, these discoveries these big breakthroughs that are happening? When you're reading a scientific journal in the year 2024 or 2025 article, and they're actually using the word shapeshifting, it makes me feel so much less crazy than I have felt in the last 20 plus years.
Well, so much has happened that I feel less crazy. Like, I've always just believed. I was always surprised when I run into somebody that doesn't believe or that it's bullshit or whatever. But lately, the scientific breakthroughs have been phenomenal that people have to start believing more. Like, I'm kind of like, no, you're really behind on
You're being willfully ignorant at this point.
Yeah, you're being willfully ignorant.
To talk about, like, I still don't know about UFOs. Now you're being the guy who won't go. You're going to be me who wouldn't watch The Wire until 15 years after The Wire came out.
And then you were like, I should have. I get it.
Then during the pandemic, I watched The Wire, and I'm like, what was I doing?
Well, yeah. Right,
Why was I not watching The Wire?
What? It was.
Yeah, so I don't know. My Jesus is just not feeling crazy. That's who I'm looking for. I'm not crazy. But so we're all looking for our own personal Jesus, right?
Did I ever? So there was a point where I was so depressed, and this was a long time ago, and this is sort of when I picked up tarot and everything, and I said, I am going to do whatever it takes to get happy. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to this, that. And every day for 1 hour, I meditated. And I had a weird Christian book that was like, open your chakras. You got to have Jesus' cross over your chakra. Whatever it was like step, step, step. It had like a 15-step thing. But whatever it was, I meditated for an hour every day. That was where I had 2 out-of-body experiences where I woke up and I was like looking down at my desk and I was on the ceiling and I saw my body and I went, oh, I died, and I flew back into my body. That was the time when I saw a full body apparition, and it was like I was doing so much work on my like peace that everything opened up. And then I got my tarot cards and I started. So at that time, I had a dream and a seashell rings. I'm at the beach, a seashell rings, and I answer it and I say hello. And a voice says, Karen, it's God. I heard you want to ask me something. And I said, okay. And I asked something stupid. And he goes, is that really what you wanted to ask me? I go, no, it wasn't. I go, all right, listen. Is it fate or free will? Because I am working so hard and I really would like to watch more TV. And the shell starts laughing so loud that I had to pull it away from my head. And he just thinks it's so funny. And then he comes back on line and he goes, I tell you what, you pick one. And I go, oh man. And in my mind, that's the God I want. Sense of humor, not pointing a finger at me.
I'll tell you what you pick.
I know. What do you want to do?
You create your own reality.
Yeah, which one do you want it to be?
Wow. I mean, that's really great. I think the idea of God laughing on the other side, of the other end of the seashell line is great.
And a minister told me that I was talking to Satan and I needed to go to church right away. And I was like, no. There was no.
You're missing it, bro.
Yeah.
You're missing the beauty of life itself.
And he said you shouldn't be getting phone calls from God, even if it's in your dream. And I was like, why not? Why not?
Because he was told that.
Yeah, that's it. That's what religion is. You were told that, so you believe it.
Because I told you so.
Yeah.
Religion is why can't I do this? Because I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
existence. And no thank you. We all know how that ends when you
Yeah.
tell a kid, because I told you so.
Yeah.
And every psychologist in the last 40 years has said, don't say that to your, don't say that as your answer.
Yeah.
Because it's not healthy.
And that is what, like I said, I was very lucky. My mom was brought up Catholic and my dad was an agnostic. And when we were born, my father said, never, you're not taking these kids to the Catholic Church. No way, ever. No, just no. And so my mom went to the priest and the priest said, you know what to do. You bring them here. And then she went to this Methodist church and they were like, oh, well, we have pamphlets and this is what we think and we hope you'll come. And they were so like, not like, you know what to do. And that was the choice.
Well, I mean, that's what a corrupt organization does. You're not, hey, once you're in for life. There ain't no getting out of the mob or the church. Okay, so let's, Karen, this has been great. I think we covered a lot of ground.
We did. I think so.
Let's remind people that they can find you on Paranormal Karen.
If it's still up.
Find
me Psychic Stand-Up.
Oh.
Or
what's going on? Oh.
I think I might be out. I don't know yet. I'm not positive, but I'm pushed. There's a lot. There's the social media.
I should say when Karen says this, she's recorded in the bank. About 2 years ahead. So
yes,
because I remember when we recorded, I don't know when it was, January or something.
Yeah.
And
it just came out the other day.
And I was like, oh yeah, my new show will be out by then, I'm sure. There's no way it won't be. And it wasn't. But it was coming out like literally a few days later.
Yeah.
The name change. And I was like, there's no way. I didn't even remember that was part of it.
Oh, sometimes I get an email that my thing was posted and I'm like, who is the guest? Who am I supposed to So
I'm so envious of that.
Yeah, but I had to. I can't. That's the freedom thing. When things start to pile up, I feel crushed.
So what is it? Psychic Stand-Up?
Psychic Stand-Up or at Rontowski anywhere. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, anything at Rontowski. There's no other Rontowskis. It's just me. There was a runner.
I wish you would have... I guess we could look. We'll see if Kava Queen is available on Instagram. I'm on board.
Yeah.
I mean, just even talking about it makes me feel chill.
Yeah, it's something, man. And I don't know, everything has its demon with it, but this one is much easier than anything else I don't know, maybe the Polynesians got it right and there's nothing wrong, but I'm sure there's a payday on the other end.
Next time you see me, I'm just going to be walking around chewing root all day.
Yes, that's what they do.
Being a chill dude. I think a lot more people could do with that. I can think of every world leader needs to get rooted up.
Yeah.
And chill out. Anyway, thank you for joining us on this voyage of Late Night on the Astral Plane. Follow Karen. Find Psychic Stand-Up. It's bonkers. We're going to be doing more true paranormal tales, storytelling shows, especially after the relocation back out west.
Yep.
It's going to be, I'm excited to see what the show turns into potentially.
Yeah.
We had paranormal puppets on the show tonight. And I will be bringing you, viewers, I will be bringing you the paranormal puppets.
You might be even interview with the Mothman puppet would be amazing.
I am going to be interviewing the Mothman.
I love it.
It's going to be amazing. So thanks again. Take care of yourself. If I don't see you at a live show somewhere, I'll just see you at the watering hole.
Or the Patreon, $3.
Yeah. Get out there. Drink cheap coffee once in your life, or once a month to make up for it. So I'll see you at the watering hole on the astral plane. So the video ran out while we were recording at the very end.
Evil forces.
Pope Leo from Beyond the Grave, or whoever the Pope is right now, cut our feed because they didn't like all the truth being spoken to power. No, but in all reality, I couldn't see that my phone ran out of space. So there's going to be a static image, but we're recording this on the Kava Queen's phone. And
leave the Pope alone.
And leave the Pope alone. We're pro-Pope here, it turns out. We're pro-Chicago Pope.
This Pope's not bad.
He's Chicago Pope, as I've heard him being referenced. But again, thanks again for watching the voyage, taking the voyage with us, and we'll see you soon.
Hey friends, it's Daniel Noah here. I'm the director of SpectreVision Radio. So many of the ideas that permeate the genre stories we tell are actually based on real paranormal phenomena. The way we've represented these powerful experiences really only begin to scratch the surface, not just of the way they work, but of the way they feel. When the fine folks at Oni Press approached SpectreVision about creating a comic book series based on real paranormal phenomena, we jumped at the chance. High Strangeness is a series of 5 interconnected stories created by actual experiencers, committed to portraying the reality of paranormal experience as it truly is: strange, disorienting, beguiling, frightening, and awe-inspiring. It's got UFOs, cryptids, men in black, and I mean the real men in black, not the other men in black, synchronicities, interdimensional portals, a deep underground military base, and so much more. This October, Oni Press and SpectreVision are proud to present High Strangeness, a 5-part experiment in comic book storytelling, boasting an otherworldly cast of comic book talents like Christopher Cantwell, Christian Ward and Jock, Chris Condon, Ringo Award-winning artist Dave Chisholm, Cecil Castellucci, Timothy Renner of Strange Familiars, our own Jim Perry of Euphomet. Look for High Strangeness Book 1 on shelves October 8th at a local comic book shop near you. But be warned, when you look into the abyss looks back.